Okay, today we're going to talk about percent proportion. So the percent proportion is your part over your whole is equal to your percent over 100. Okay, so this is the formula that we're going to use. We can use this formula to find missing numbers. For example, what is the percent of, or what percent of 5 is 4? So 4 is our part, and 5 is our whole. So that would be 4 over 5 is equal to n over 100. Then you would cross multiply and solve for n. You can use it to find the part and the whole as well. So we have certain keywords that are going to make this a lot easier to figure out which number goes in what location. So we have our part, which we use P as our abbreviation for, and our keyword for that is actually is. Our whole, sorry, let me try spelling that again. Looks a little sloppy. Our whole, our abbreviation for that is W, and our keyword for that is of. And then we have our percent. Our letter that we use for that to represent is N, and our keyword for that is actually the percent sign. So anytime you see the percent sign, it's going to be the percent. Okay. Make sure that you have this written down in your notes. We're going to use this for both 2.3 and 2.4. So this is going to be very important. So copy this down. What percent of $15 is $9? Okay, so remember, we have our part over our whole is equal to our percent over 100. Our keyword for part is, our keyword for whole is of, and then our key for our n, our percent, is our percent sign. So I have, let's start with is here. Is, does the is go with the 9 or with the 15? Let's think about that. If I put is with 15, I have no keywords to go with 9. So that means is has to go with the 9. So is my part. So that means this will be 9 over. Of is my keyword for my whole. So of 15. So 15 is my whole, is equal to, I don't have any numbers with a percent sign. So that's what I'm trying to find. So 9 over 15 is equal to n over 100. So now that we have our proportions, we're going to cross multiply. So 9 times 100 is 900 is equal to 15 times n, which will be 15n. Our next step is to divide both sides by our coefficient, or our number in front of our letter. We want n by itself. We want to figure out what our percent is. So we have to get rid of our 15. Right now this is 15 times n. The opposite of multiplication is division. So to get rid of our 15, I'm going to divide by 15. So 900 divided by 15. I think, okay, 15 goes into 90 6 times. So 15 goes into 900 60 times. So n is equal to 60. So what percent? So it's going to be 60% is my answer. So remember your keywords. Is your part, of is your whole, and your percent sign is for your percent. So let's go over A together. So copy that down. What percent of 20 is, or of 25 is 20? So let's start with is. Does is go with 25 or 20? It has to go with 20, otherwise 20 won't have a keyword. So it'll be 20 over of goes with 25 is equal to n over 100. So we cross multiply. 25n is equal to 2,000. Our next step is to divide both sides by 25. And you get n is equal to 25 goes into 200 8 times. So it goes into 2,000 80 times. So n is equal to 80%. So go ahead and pause this and take a moment to solve B. $12.75 is what percent of $50? So use your keywords to figure out what that is. Okay, so 12.75, is that my part or my whole? That's going to be my part, because I have is right there, of 50, so this is my whole. None of my numbers have a percent sign, so that's what I'm trying to find. So this is 1275 over 50 is equal to n over 100. So we're going to cross multiply. 50n is equal to 1,275. My next step is to divide both sides by 50. So n is equal to, so 50 goes into 127 2 times. That's 100, so then I have 275. 50 goes into 275 5 times. And then I have and then I'll have 250 left. So that's in 0.5. So n is equal to 25.5%. Okay, copy this down. What number is 40% of 120? So let's look at my keywords. So I have of 120, so there's my whole. 40. What is 40? You notice it has your percent sign, so it has to be your percent. If there's a percent sign with the number, it has to be your percent. So I'm trying to find my part this time. So we have part over whole is equal to percent over 100. So I'm going to fill in what I know. I don't know what my part is, but I know my whole is 120, and my percent is 40. So my next step is to cross multiply. So I have 100 p is equal to 4,800. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 100 because I want to cancel that out. So p is by itself. And we're left with p is equal to, because these both end with zeros, I can get rid of that zero and that one, and I can do it again another time. So I'm left with 48 over 1. 48 divided by 1 is just 48. So my part is 48. So what number is 40% of 120? 48 is 40% of 120. So do the exact same thing with these two. What number is 5% of 60? And 12% of 85 is what number? So we're trying to find our part. So figure out your keywords, look at your keywords and figure out where everything's going to go in our equation. Remember, our equation is your part over your whole is equal to your percent over 100. So go ahead and pause this for a moment to solve this. Okay, so if we look, 5%, that has to be my percent because it has a percent sign with it. So I'm going to put 5 over 100. So now we need to figure out 60. Is that my part or my whole? My keyword for my part is, and my keyword for my whole is of. This is of 60, so that means it's going to be my whole. So I'm trying to figure out what my part is. So I'm going to cross multiply. I have 100p is equal to 300. Divide both sides by 100. And your part is equal to 3. Okay, and letter D, 12% of 85 is what number? So my 12 has a percent with it, so it has to be my percent. My 85, does it go with is or does it go with of? If it went with is, I would have no number to go with of. So that means it has to go with of. So that's going to be my whole. So I'm trying to find my part when my whole is 85 and my percent is 12. So I cross multiply. I get 100p is equal to, we have to multiply 85 times 12, and we get 1,020. So I'm going to divide both sides by 100. And my part is going to equal 10.2. Copy this down. 18 is 25% of what number? So 25% is my percent. 18 says 18 is, so it's going to be my part. So this is 18 over our whole, we don't know what that is equal to 25 over 100. So I'm going to cross multiply. I have 1800 is equal to 25W. Okay, so we divide both sides. Whoops. We're going to divide both sides by 25. So W is equal to, let me figure out, let's work this one out. 25 goes into 180 7 times. That's 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150, 175. So 180 minus 175 is 5, and I'm going to bring down this 0. 25 goes into 50 2 times. So W is equal to 72. Okay, so do the exact same thing for E and F. So let's look at E really quick. 40% of what number is 26? So 40%, that percent tells me that this is going to be my N. 26, so it is 26, so that's going to be my part. So go ahead and finish E and F. Okay, so this will be 26 over W is equal to 40 over 100. So we cross multiply. We have 2600 is equal to 40W. So we'll divide both sides by 40. And when you divide that out, so these both end with zeros, so I can get rid of a zero each. So that's then 260 divided by 4. So when you divide that, you get W is equal to 65. And F, so 84 is my part, and 75 is my percent, so this will be 84 over my whole is equal to 75 over 100. So we cross multiply, we get 75W is equal to 8400. Divide both sides by 75, so we want to get W by itself. And we'll get W is equal to, when we divide this, we end up with 112. Okay, here's our last example. The average adult male western lowland gorilla eats about 33.5 pounds of fruit each day. How much food does the average adult male gorilla eat each day? So take a moment and pause this and copy this down in your notes. So in order to solve this, we need to figure out what our part, our whole, and our percent are. So remember, we have part over our whole is equal to our percent over 100. So he eats about 33.5 pounds of fruit. They want to know how much food. So we have to figure out, is fruit or food our whole? Well, the total amount of food is going to be our whole, which means the fruit is going to be our part. So this will be 33.5, and we're trying to figure out what our whole is equal to something over 1. So we need to figure out what our percent is. So if we look over at our table, we have our part is our fruit. So what percentage of the diet is the fruit? If we look, fruit is 67%. So that's what I'm going to put here. So now that I have my proportion, I can cross multiply. 67W is equal to 3,350. I'm going to divide both sides by 67. And you actually end up with W is equal to 50. So how much food does the average adult male gorilla eat each day? That's 50 pounds is our answer.